Welcome to the Austin Cycling Bulletin for the week of August 15th, 2022. I'm Kat Steele, and this is our second episode. Every week we're going to discuss local cycling rides presented by the ride leaders of the local groups that host rides throughout town. This week we have Calais Morgan from Team Snacks, Kimberly Jarboe from Social Cycling Austin, and Valerie Ruiz from Bike Story 9, Social Sunday Morning Cruise, and Folx.
Hey there, this is Litsa. I'm currently editing the podcast and I thought I'd jump in just to let you know what you have in store for this episode so you can skip to the part you care about most. So we'll start with a quick rundown of all the rides that Kat, myself, and our three guests were able to think of. This week, it will be quicker than last week because Kat is just going to read down the bulleted list, but the whole point is to help you get an idea of what fun you can have this week on a bike. So there you go, we'll deliver that quickly and efficiently, and then we'll launch into a really nice discussion that is kind of aimed at people who are new to Austin, new to the cycling scene, new to riding, or just visiting town and are wondering how the heck to break in. And then all of our guests spend a little bit of time talking about themselves and their cycling history and what they like to do. So we'll finish out with that conversation. I hope you enjoy this episode. If you are a ride leader or, actively involved in the cycling community, please get in touch with Kat and I, and we'd love to have your help on this show. All right, well, thanks. Enjoy.
Here's a list of rides going on this week in Austin, Texas, week of August 15th, 2022. On Monday is the Breakfast Club Babes Ride. It goes at 6 p.m. from the Meteor. It's a 15 mile per hour pace ride with regular regroups, but it's not no drop. It's hilly, but it's for women, non-binary, beginner, and intermediate folks. Also on Mondays is Ride Like a Girl. It's a mountain bike ride. This week it was at Walnut Creek Park. It starts at 6 p.m. It's for women, trans, and non-binary folks only. Tuesdays is the North Austin Social Cycling Ride. They start from Balcones District Park at 7:30 p.m. and they're on Facebook for details. The yoga ride is at 6:30 p.m. from Doug Sam Hill, and it's a beginner ride for 5 miles with yoga, 8 to 10 miles an hour, no drop for 5 miles. There's also the Southern Walnut Creek Trail Ride, which is a night ride from Govell Park, starts at 7:30 and goes up the South Walnut Creek Trail. It's a 13-mile ride, no drop. It's about a 13 mile per hour ride. It's no dropping. It's about 22 miles. On Wednesdays is the Rafa Cycling Club Women's Level Up Ride, which is a fast-paced 16 mile per hour hilly women non-binary only ride. It starts at 7 a.m. from the Rafa Austin store. They're on Instagram if you want some details about that. On Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. at Hemp Hill Park is the Wheelie Wednesday with the 512 Wheelie crew. They ride cruiser bikes 10 to 12 miles an hour for 15 and 20 miles. And it's folks with BMX cruiser bikes, but they welcome anyone. Also on Wednesdays, this week is a special event for the Bike and Betties. They're having a ride and gear clothing swap at 6 p.m. from Ship Park. This week they're having a beginner swim, a 5-mile bike ride, followed by a gear and clothing swap. They do about 8 to 10 miles an hour, and it's no drop. Thursday this week is the Thursday night social ride, which is an 8 to 10 mile per hour, no drop, beginners, an all-level 10-mile bike ride. Starts at the Festival Beach Park. They start at 7:30, but wheels down at 8:15. Also on Thursday is the Captex Cruisers Ride, which starts in Ramsey Park. It's a 10 to 13 mile per hour ride for 20 miles, and you must have a 1-speed cruiser bike. Also on Thursday is the ride led by yours truly. I lead the Team Snacks Early Bird Ride. We ride from Cycleast at 7:30 a.m. We do about 16 miles at about a 13 mile per hour pace. We ride up the Walnut Creek Trail to Mueller and down through Cherrywood and Baldwin Creek and back to the start where we have coffee and snacks at Flat Truck Coffee. It's a really, really fun ride. On Friday, this is a fun ride. The coffee ride is starting from Govell Park at 7 a.m. And they ride 10 to 13 miles an hour for 11 to 16 miles. It's no drop, mostly road, bike paths. and they discover a different coffee shop every week. They're on Instagram if you want to find out more about that. Also, Friday in the evening, 7:30 p.m. in Page, Texas, is the Breakfast Club Gravel Gang night ride. We're going to do about 15 miles an hour for 30 miles. We regroup, but it's not no drop. It's for WMB and allies, so open to everyone. But definitely need a gravel bike. You need good lights, drinks, things like that to take care of yourself out on the road. On Saturday, it's the Saturday morning coffee cruise. It starts at Food Heads at 11:30 a.m. They do 8 to 10 miles an hour for about 10 miles, and they start at a coffee shop. They stop midway, and then they end with food and beverages. And we heard that it could go quite a while, so it should be interesting. Sunday is Sunday Stunt Day with the 512 Wheelie crew. They have, this is for folks with BMX cruiser bikes. They do 10 to 12 miles an hour for 15 to 20 miles from Hemp Hill Park at 7 p.m. Sunday is Sunday Bike Curious, which starts at the Browning Hangar. It's 6:45 p.m. with wheels down at 7. It's an 8 to 10 mile per hour, no drop, beginner friendly ride. They visit artwork and murals. Also on Sunday is the Austin Ridge Riders. It's a mountain bike ride. They ride in Walnut Creek Metro Park at 9:30 a.m. It varies for speed. It's a fast to intermediate ride, 8 to 12 to 16 to 8 to 12 miles per hour, but it's for all levels. Sunday also has Team Snacks, Slow Your Roll. It's going to start at 8 a.m. at Cycle East, and it's a 12 mile per hour, no drop, snack stop, 10 mile ride. It's a blast. We did it last week and rode around downtown, but every time that we do it, it's a different route. So sign up and see what we do. It's always fun, no drop, no pressure ride. Also on Sunday, Team Snacks is going to be having hot laps at Slaughter Creek Park. It's a mountain bike ride where there is a 5-mile loop. You go at your own pace. It's beginner friendly. The trail contains novice to intermediate trail features. And we ride at 6 p.m. from Slaughter Creek Trail. It's west of town, so definitely worth the trip. I love riding there. On Sunday is the Spinistry Rafa Women's 100 Training Ride, which is a road ride. Going to average 14 to 17 miles an hour. You need to have your own snacks and water. It's an intermediate women's trans, non-binary. You need to have clipless pedals, helmet, all the things to take care of yourself on a ride. It's going to have a 7 a.m. meet and a 7:30 rollout from Medici Coffee on Spoondale. The Austin Gravel Collective is going to have their Rip and Dip ride from Martindale on Sunday at 8:30 a.m. This is a blast. I'm going to be leading that ride also. It's for anyone that is, it's for women, non-binary, LGBTQA, BIPOC, and allies. So anyone can come, but it's led from the back. So that means basically if you're riding with me, you're on a no-drop ride. And it's going to be about 25 miles. We usually average about 13 or 14 miles an hour. But the best thing about this ride is it starts and ends at the San Marcos River in Martindale. And after the ride, you just jump in the river in your kit and cool off. And it's beautiful. It's really, really fun. Plenty of parking. It's easy to get to. It takes about 45 minutes to get there from town. But it's totally worth the trip. So I highly recommend that one. Finally, on Sunday is the Sunday Cruise Atx, which starts at Sculpture Park Plazas in the Mueller Park area. And that's it's a very social ride, 79 miles per hour, 5 to 9 miles, the weather depending, and it's for just people looking for a relaxing cruise, and they're on Instagram, so check that out. And we don't have a lot of details on it, but Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are the Spokesy Folks rides. They're intermediate 7 to 8 mile an hour, 5 to 9 mile ride, usually around town. And they are on Instagram, so just look up Spokesy Folks and you can find out what kind of rides they're doing. They didn't have anything scheduled when we had a chat today. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop a line to us here at the Austin Cycling podcast, and we will help you out. And the spreadsheet that I've just been referencing will be listed in the show notes. Thank you very much. Bye. This week we discussed what you should do if you're a new rider or new to town and you're trying to find fun rides that you would be interested in.
So I'm just going to open it up to the floor. Anyone wants to chime in?
But so besides this podcast, what are other
Besides
ways?
this podcast.
It's like, are you trying to fire us? We're only 2 podcasts in. FCX, Social Cycling Austin, we do tend to share a lot of rides get shared there, but social stuff, like definitely a lot of social stuff. I mean, I see some other things posted there from time to time, but most of what gets posted there is, social rides. But I try to share a lot of stuff that I see. I share probably more on their Instagram than anything else, Social Cycling Austin. And then Bike and Betty's has an Instagram. It's just Bike and Betty's without the G. And there I try to share any stuff that comes my way, kind of social, women, trans, non-binary stuff. I try to share there, but it is a challenge. I mean, there's so much. I've seen people make efforts to like do a one size fits all, like everything bicycles. It's like, it's just, they're not usually very well maintained.
Yeah, that's the problem. I've been trying when I
started and then
yes. When I sometimes after a ride, I'll post it on Reddit, the Bike ATX subreddit. And I think sometimes I've gotten people who say, how do I find out about these rides?
Yeah.
But they're hard to like organize through there.
Yeah. And the critical mass group, they have an Instagram too, but of course you're just gonna see that's there. It's like finding all the Instagrams for the various clubs.
Yeah.
But then the question is, how do you learn who the clubs even are to go hunt them down?
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say I am always encouraging folks to go to their local bike shop, find a bike shop that they love, especially if the bike shop has coffee or snacks or anything like that, because I feel like they're so knowledgeable in everything bikes, and they also are knowledgeable in group rides. Most likely they're going on group rides. They know someone who's going on group rides. Noticing more bike shops have community boards, which is amazing and awesome, and that's really helpful, and just like word of mouth. But yeah, I just encourage people to go to your bike shop, local bike shop, and ask a few questions. Don't be hesitant. I feel like we're so lucky in Austin to have like such an abundance of amazing bike shops, and I feel like there's like one popping up at least every year or something now. So yeah, find a bike shop that you love or the bike shop that's near you. Check that out. And of course, the social media.
That's a great idea.
Reddit's. I'm very glad that groups are creating Slacks and things like that. Follow a bike ride if you see it. Go.
Yeah, that's true.
And a distance.
It seems like the answer is kind of different for, like, are you visiting Austin for a week and you're trying to figure out what all rides you can do? Versus, did you just move here and you're trying to find your new community? I think if you're here for a week and you're like, I want to get in on rides. Well, it's amazing you're listening to this right now. So, but wow.
Yeah.
But I would think Valerie's advice is pretty good for that, because the bike mechanics and salespeople at the bike shops, they would be aware of like Social Cycling Austin or whatever competitive rides. And then if you're looking for your new community, I agree with just hop in on a ride, because you're going to ride alongside all these people, presumably doing the sort of riding you like. So you can be like, hey, what other rides do you do? And just kind of source it.
Mechanics are probably, going to be able to look at your bike or look at the bike you're interested in or whatever. You guess, what ride might be the right fit for you.
Yeah.
Like your direction send you in at least.
Your bike oracles, your bike astrology.
Yeah. I'd agree with Valerie's advice. A bike shop is really probably good.
That's a great idea.
Go. Just because, like what she was saying about like mechanic, the folks there generally know what's going on around town, but that's also your best bet for just encountering random cyclists. I mean, there's been many times where, I've inquired about a ride that's gathering at a bike shop and leaving out, also snacks because we meet at Cycle East a lot. People are coming in and out with their bikes and we're like, oh, where are you guys going? I mean, we've garnered a lot of just like bystanders that are just like interested in like what's going on. Just by asking. I mean, they see a bunch of people gathering, getting ready to leave, that's a great place to do it. You're bound to see somebody with a bike going on over there, all different kinds too, especially at like a shop like Cycle East where they like service bikes of all different kinds,
Me at Cycle East with Sunday Cruise, but we started getting a little bit bigger and we were kind of taking up the whole like outside space. So we then started meeting up behind it, which worked out really well. And we were just talking about this like a week ago. Especially since our anniversary is coming up, we're gonna try to go back to what we was starting from, especially since the pandemic. We also that was the other thing, was like with the pandemic, not trying to bring too many people together. So hopefully now things are subsiding and getting better. We're going to go back to meeting at our regular spots, Cycle East and Eastside Pedal Pushers.
Great.
We love.
Yeah.
2 great shops.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it occurred to me that if someone is visiting, well, 2 things occurred to me. If you're not from here, then you should just know kind of what Calais was saying is the cycling culture here, whether you're social cycling or competitive rider or anything in between, is generally people love riding bikes. It makes them happy. And when they learn that you like riding bikes too, they're like, oh my God, we're best friends. Yes, please join. So it's like very, like, you don't have to feel weird about approaching a group of strangers on bikes and asking, because usually they'll be really happy to talk your ear off or whatever. So that's kind of the vibe here. And then secondly, if you're just visiting and you're hoping to rent a bike, the pandemic kind of messed things up. But I think Mellow Johnny still has road bikes for rent. But are y'all aware of like where someone could rent road bike or mountain bike or anything like that?
So the last time I checked, there was this site called Spinlister. And I had heard about them years ago, and then I checked a month or two ago, and it looked like we're still functioning. But this was like a VR, like it was like an Airbnb for bicycles.
What?
So like you could list your bike on there, and you could rent your bike out to an individual. Now I don't know how it works out with like liability, because if I'm renting my bike to someone, like I want to the lot that I have.
Right, yeah.
Horrible. Like you could put your measurements in and the type of bike you want. I've never done it, and I've never done it. So I can't speak to that, but that sounds kind of like interesting. I know bicycle sport shop used to rent bikes, and I'm wondering if I'm not really sure, but
I don't know either.
Someone on Spokesy Folks rented a bike this week for our Friday happy hour. The Barton Spring shop, Barton Spring Night Rule. I think I've seen that spot. Yeah. Absolutely.
I know.
Bike company. They also rent out bikes.
Yeah, I think it's easier if you want to rent like more of a cruiser style or little town bike. Those like those rental companies that are oriented to that, I don't think they ever went away. They continue to persist. It's just like oh, go ahead.
Sorry, the Barton Springs rental place loaned out this road bike.
Oh,
was it like you see a rental, bike, and it's not a road bike, but this was a really nice
interesting. So that could be a place to look. Yeah. Awesome. Hey there, another quick interjection from your editor, Litsa. If you're watching the video, please ignore it. Ignore the bags of powder behind me. I do food science for my job and I need bags of powder, what you see is not what you think. I swear, it's just innocent chemicals like um, a, a tricalcium phosphate. You eat it every day. Don't give me that look, cat. Okay, well, so I did interrupt for a purpose, and that is to let you know that at this point we are going to switch over to the part where everybody talks about themselves. So, my name's Litsa. I am a member of organizations, but I'm not like a board member of any. However, I do own Dear Diary Coffee, and we are a sponsor of the Violet Crown Women's Team and Team Snacks. And I ride mountain, road, and gravel. And I commute. Okay, Cat.
Cat Steel. I ride gravel, road, mountains, around the yard, wherever I can, skid in the driveway. But I lead rides for Team Snacks, Breakfast Club, Gravel Collective, and I just try to get out as many miles as I can a week and just be out there and having fun on two wheels.
Kim.
Hi, my name's Kim. So I'm riding bikes to 9-ish, but I'm pretty much like all social rider. Like, in fact, I don't even own any bike gear or anything like that. But yeah, I am one organizer social cycling Austin. I also lead their rides for them, and then I do their Instagram pretty much 100%, just like a part-time job. I don't get paid for it.
Look at all the nods.
But yeah, but yeah, social cycling. In fact, I only own bike. I'm aspiring to get into mountain bike.
Oh, well, your looks good company.
So I'm pretty sure I would love it.
Nice. That's sweet. Valerie.
Hey, my name's Valerie. I use she, her pronouns. Stuff by I am the founder organizer for Sunday Cruise Atx with my partner Jordan. And I'm also doing other stuff like Spokesy Folks founder. And I also founded Bike Story Night. We're excited about. Spoiler, it's coming back next month. And I also wanted to just mention, I want to start something new because, I have 5 fingers, so why not? I want to start something called Bike Piece because I love photography. It's sort of what, like, really is my true passion, like heart and soul. And, anything I do sort of like will reflect that, and I've had the opportunity with biking capture and document, and that's been really fun. And that's kind of how Bike Story Night happened. And now I realized that I want more from cycling and I want to connect with people with similar interests, more specifically. And that's people who love photography. So I had one get together. It was really small and fun, but I'm hoping to make it a monthly thing. So stay on my personal socials, Varu Creative, VARU. Yeah, just keep an eye out. I think on my socials, you can kind of connect with Booksy Folks, Sunday Cruise. I hope that covers enough details on what's the haps. Especially, I feel like since Booksy Folks didn't have a ride this week, I'm happy to talk about that. Really excited to be getting folks on bike. Yeah, I'm happy to help anytime.
Yeah, well, definitely, like all of y'all, please come back. We plan to do this every week, so you'll have opportunities to plug whatever rides. And we also want to improve upon the format, so we'll iterate and make it better and better every week. And then Calais, last but certainly not least.
Sure. I'm Calais Morgan. I use she, he, they pronoun, and I'm the president of Team Snacks. And I spend a lot of time organizing and helping that out alongside the snacks board and our dedicated ride leaders such as Kat. And I mean, I like mountain biking. I think the best out of all the cycling just because it's like pure fun. There's like really no point to it other than having a good time. um, uh, but I do ride in other disciplines as well. I do road riding for the team. I say that because I'm not a roadie. If I'm road riding, it's because I'm doing it for the team. But I like exploring, dirt and gravel roads and like interesting like urban features and things like that. I like bike touring and bike camping a lot. Um, but I'm currently working on. So it's funny because I grew up on these like really shitty dirt and gravel roads out in the country. And nobody liked those roads back then. I didn't like those roads, biking on those roads, but now it's just me. And so I'm getting the one of my bike geared up for gravel riding so that way I can participate more in that dirty, dusty thing that we call uh gravel ride. It didn't used to be that. It just used to be like, back with like the gravel road riding, and it's interesting. Like
It was a way to get to your friend's house.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So that's a lot of fun. I have done like competitive like racing stuff like that, but that quickly found that I don't really I'm super competitive. And I think I'm so competitive that I was really irritated with being at the bottom and like seeing how like because you have to start out at the category to go up. Being at the bottom and seeing how like the people at the bottom kind of get um kind of like just thrown in with like all the like it's all like leftovers of like people and not trying to like crap on anybody, but it was like it's hard to do like because I did mountain bike racing and it's hard to like really kind of feel like you can get anywhere whenever you're like fighting for top spot among like all these other different groups, riding groups and age groups and like levels and stuff like that. So I have dabbled in competitive, but I tend to be pretty surgical or purpose driven when it comes to when it's like what I need, like and stuff like that. As well as like trail building and things like that. Anything that's like spooky and in the woods, digging. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much. I mean, I participate in other things too. Like I help with the Hill Country Ride for AIDS. I team captain for Project Transitions in the Hill Country Ride Parade. I have for the past several years been on production team for the ACRA, but I probably won't be doing that next year. I'm trying to focus a lot on team snacks and the pandemic was really, really hard on the club. And so I'm trying to do my part to try to like bring that up. And some of the rides that we, have are obviously the Slow Your Roll and then the Flower Creek Hot Laps, which is mountain bike, but we're going to be expanding that to other like mountain bike things. And we're looking at maybe getting like nighttime ride going. I've started the Riding Rainbow series, which it's so hot right now. Like I feel bad like trying to force anybody to go do cool things at the hot times. But there'll be more of that. And I've had kind of like a semi um non-committed like book club reading kind of thing in the past where we like bike somewhere and we like read stuff to each other. It's super fun and quirky. I love it. But I probably need to bring that back. Eat my dust cover is you
I love it.
It's like basically anything for a pun.
yeah, I love puns. and and yeah, so that's we've got other cool things do a team snack. So if you want to keep up with us, we're on Instagram and Black especially. So you can find Team Snack Cycling on Slack, and you can go to teamsnackcycling.com and find upcoming events on our calendar page there.
Valerie, I'm trying to generate stories for you. Dear Diary has a short story contest, and I made the theme bikes intentionally. That way people who write short stories for that contest about bikes can come to your bike story night and participate. Like, you'll have more readers. And I'm giving away 2 passes to the Austin Film Festival in October to the winner of the bike story contest. Yeah.
Fiction, non-fiction story?
It doesn't matter, as long as it's short.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we have 30 seconds till the top of the hour. We can still answer the question of the week, though, because it sounds like everyone has a little bit of...
Yeah, why don't we do it, and then if in editing, in post, if you find some room to like consolidate, we can fit it in.
I'm not worried about keeping this short so much as not using up people's work time.
You're getting a weird blur from your arm.
Okay, so what is this question of the week?
All right, so my question of the week is for you all, because you organize rides. Thinking of a person who may be new to town or new to biking and doesn't know necessarily how to find out about rides. Is there any way you all tend to broadcast your events? And do you have any ideas for what we could do better to help people find out about all these different groups? Because look at, even in the discussion that we've had, there's groups that we don't know what rides they have, because I don't know how to find them.
Hello. So, Kat, what did you think of episode number 2? How did we do?
We're learning.
Yeah.
I really like that that there's people in the community that are very different about their cycling goals and what they envision seeing their groups and the rides that they lead doing around town and in the future. And it's neat that, we're getting a perspective that you and I didn't even really know was a thing.
That's true. We're kind of out of touch with the social cycling scene. Mm-hmm. So for folks that aren't from Austin, I'm guessing it's kind of like this in other big cities, but we have different bike communities, and there is a lot of cross-pollination.
Right.
A lot of us just like riding bikes and we don't care what kind of wheels we're on, but there's people who are competitive. We have a huge racing scene, different kinds of racing, road racing, gravel racing, mountain bike racing. And then there's like the whole BMX scene that I am so ignorant to.
I don't know anything about it.
It would be really cool to get someone that knows about that world.
Right.
And then today we had 2 folks from the social cycling scene that are really active and kind of enlightened us. We had awareness of what they were doing generally, but we don't really participate that much. So I'm so glad that they were here to let us know. Right. And then we have all of these like supportive scenes, like, oh, you're not competitive yet, but you're interested in competitive cycling or road riding or mountain biking.
Or you just want to get better.
Yeah, exactly. Like things like Team Snacks, which that's kind of where we live a lot of the time. Yeah.
The thing I was thinking of, if you're watching this podcast, if you learned about it from Reddit or from any of the other places that this gets shared, and you're shouting at the screen about what about my ride that you really care about, contact us. Let us know, because we'll have you come on the show and talk about it.
Well, and we also, I know, probably got some information wrong.
Oh, I'm quite certain.
So if you're shouting because you're like, oh, you want to correct us.
Right.
Well, fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are, though, trying to invite, like prioritize when it comes to our guests, people from marginalized or tokenized groups. I guess, I mean, it's weird for us because I feel like as women, the women's cycling scene in Austin seems so big that it's easy to, it's hard to remember, easy to forget that we are still a minority in the overall cycling population, which is like, oh, that's really nice that we get to forget that. But we are nonetheless. But we definitely have other groups that are even less represented than women, and so like it would be nice. It's like whenever you don't get enough numbers to represent you, can you at least like stand ahead above the crowd or something, like be in a forum like this so that folks like you know that they're not alone. Right. So.
And honestly, for a lot of for the people that are on this podcast this week and last week too, this isn't our job. We weren't trained to do this. This is something we like to ride bike. Yeah. And so if you are a person who has an idea, you can do it. You can make it happen. It's not that hard.
Your dreams can come true. Yes. All right. Yes. Well, okay. So, Kat, okay. So, as you know, but the listeners wouldn't know, we recorded the ride roll with the help of our guest, and they all went and talked about all the rides this week, but our audio got messed up in the beginning, and we have no idea why, because it magically improved itself without us doing anything. Right. Yeah. So
we're still learning.
Yes. However, we were able to get a good chunk of that had audio. It was just the very kind of first bit that didn't. Okay. So I would consider the podcast kind of concluded at this point. Like, we've delivered everything, but for the people that like to fall asleep to podcast, maybe they just want a little extra time. So I'll just lump that in on the end, but I'm not even gonna, who even knows if I'll put any music on there, or it's just gonna be a B-roll or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Sweet dreams.
Good night. Good night. Dream of cycling.
Bye.
Kat, what about you?
Tonight is the Breakfast Club Babes Ride, and it's every Monday at 6 p.m. from the Meteor. We ride from the Meteor across the lake to Mount Benil, and then come back through downtown. So it's a blast. It usually ends up averaging around 14 or 15 miles an hour, but it's not necessarily no drop, but they do regular regroups, and getting to the top of Mount Benil is a big deal. So every time we make a, big, everybody takes pictures at the top, and it's sort of fun. So definitely a ride worth checking out.
And that one is women non-binary only.
Yeah.
But the other, and Bike and Betty's was women's ride as well, but the boogie is co-ed.
Right.
Okay. And then the Babes ride.
The Babes ride is on Monday nights. Yes.
At 6.
It used to be last year. Yep. They had to change it. Yep.
Kat, have you or anybody looked up where our lag is meeting tonight?
Yes, our lag is riding in. How do I scroll across? Walnut Creek Metro Park tonight.
Okay. Did you happen to look up next week?
No.
Okay, so our lag meets at what time? 6? Okay.
6 p.m.
So our lag Ride Like a Girl is a women's mountain biking group that meets every Monday night, but it's seasonal, so it's just going to be this summer. Tonight, August 15th, they're meeting at 6 p.m. at Walnut Creek Metropolitan Park, but next Monday, they're going to meet, I don't know how to interpret that. You tell me.
That's August. So here's...
Okay, so the 12th
is north, 22nd is south, Dick Nichols Park.
Okay, all right. So Next Monday, August 22nd, they meet at Dick Nichols Park at 6 p.m. It's women, and I believe non-binary, like anyone woman identifying.
Yeah.
And it's quite a big group, and they split by skill level, so it's good for everyone from beginner to advanced riders that want to chase each other around. All right, let's move on to Tuesday. Valerie, you had a Tuesday for us, right?
Controlled by social bike ride. Sounds like they ride a few more miles than your normal social ride. I'm guessing probably like 16 to 20. But yeah, they have a Strava as well. I put the link there in the chart.
Okay.
Sweet. Calais, do you know of a Tuesday ride?
No.
Kim?
Yeah, so Social Cycling Austin has 2 Tuesday evening rides this week. So they have their normal Southern Walnut Creek Trail ride that happens every Tuesday from Goval Park. It is a social ride, but they do go at a faster pace. But they meet at Goval, they ride the entirety of the Southern Walnut Creek Trail, and then they stop at the end and chill. Some people might have a beer if they have one with them, or a beverage of some sort. They chill for like, 20, 30 minutes, and then they ride the whole thing back. So just because it's a bunch of people all on the same trail, it's not no drop, but it's like, everybody's on the trail at the same time. So it's a lot, safer because there's people around you. And they do stop and kind of hang out. And then I believe they usually end with like tacos somewhere on the east side, like tacos and drinks on the east side. So it's like a real social thing. But because it's like the trail, you really have the flexibility to go at whatever speed you want. But I believe the trail is like 22 miles. So it stops and ends at Goble Park.
Do you know before you move on, Kim, do you know what time someone should show up?
Yeah, so they wheels down at let me look at the thing I put in the spreadsheet. At 7:30. Yeah, they wheels down at 7:30. And I believe they usually meet up a little bit before that just to kind of hang out a little bit, like 15, 20 minutes early.
Okay.
Then we also have the yoga ride, which kind of changes between Sundays and Tuesdays depending on the leader flexibility. This week it's meeting on Tuesday. It always meets at Doug Sam Hill at 6:30. So that one is usually a 5-mile, like very beginner paced ride, super chill ride, followed by yoga. And then or I might be mixing up the order there. There's always a 5-mile ride in yoga, and then they often end at free swim in the summertime. But I don't know if that's like a all the time thing or just every now and then. But yeah, those are the 2 Tuesday ones I know about.
Carrot, do you have?
I don't have a Tuesday right now.
And last time we had talked about Tuesday Teardown, but we were unsure if that was still happening. And I don't think any of us looked it up between last week and this week. So
I guess I'm sorry. I guess I will say Spokesy Folk does tend to meet on the first Tuesday of the month. Our schedule has been sort of different throughout the summer. We're trying to get a fixed schedule, but we do tend to meet on Tuesdays. We're trying to do first Tuesdays because that was our original schedule. So yeah, next week is a Wednesday for Spokesy Folks, but look out for Tuesdays with Spokesy Folks as well.
Do you want to go ahead and talk about the Spokesy Folk ride on Wednesday and who all would want to come to that?
Yeah, that sounds good. So we usually do, very beginner friendly, bike paths, trails, rides, and especially during the summer, we're just taking it really easy. But this Wednesday, we're just going to start sort of easing into something we're hoping to grow, which is having more intermediate rides and do a Mount Bonnell ride. So I'm really excited about that next Wednesday. We're going to have Laura, I believe, ride now.
Yeah, Carbonell.
Carbonell.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna help us out with that, come out and kind of just give the gist on riding up a hill and riding down the hill and, some essential, I guess, knowledge for doing that. I'm, very, very unfamiliar with that, but I'm really excited. I've been wanting to do that. I heard Kat talking about that and it reminds me with the Babes ride and it reminds me. So I want to chat with you more about Banel rides.
Okay, sure.
But
yeah, see.
So
yeah, one beat for folks. And then
Valerie, by next week, do you mean the 17th? Or do you mean truly the 24th? Okay, so this Wednesday, there isn't any Spokesy Folk, but next Wednesday, there's that, like new to riding intermediate level. Is Spokesy Folks, like W and B or co-ed or does it matter?
FTW and B, Femtrans, women non-binary.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Any, Calais, do you have a Wednesday?
I do not.
Okay. And then Kim?
I do actually. So it's not SCA or it's not Social Cycling Austin, but it's the 512 Wheelie crew has their Wednesday. I think it's just called Wheelie Wednesdays, but they meet at Hemphill Park. They do, so it's a social ride and it's mostly like those BMX cruiser bikes and it's a lot of guys doing wheelies and stuff, but they are super open to like anybody coming out. In fact, I go on it on my like road and I don't know, whatever bike you want to call my bike. But there's people on all kinds of bikes. You just have to be comfortable with some shenanigans. But they're all super safe. Those guys do those tricks so often. It's actually one of the rides where I've seen the least amount of wrecks. Like it's kind of crazy. But it's a lot of a wide age group. In fact, there's even some kids. So there's like parents that bring their kids out. It's a little faster than your normal social ride. I mean, I get a pretty good workout on it. And they usually hit about 15 to 20 miles. They're usually like fairly no drop. Like if you have a mechanical, they stop. But if you're having trouble keeping up, I'm not sure if they're gonna like slow down for you or anything. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. I actually go on them pretty often. They're really welcome.
That's awesome.
But they meet at Hemphill Park. Usually meet at like 36:45 with they say wheeled up. That's
I've seen them ride around town and I've always wondered. So I'm glad you like demystified that for me. It makes me want to get a bike like that.
I know. I'm not even gonna try to do it. But I'll cheer them on.
Kat, what about you?
For Wednesdays, there's a ride with the Rafa Cycling Club. It's a ladies only morning ride. They ride at 7 a.m. from Rafa and it's a hills ride. So not only is it hills, it's fast. So they average 16 miles an hour. It's a drop ride. But if you are looking for a quick wake up on a Wednesday morning, that should do it. I know the riders that lead those rides are really good. They're very supportive and they want, riders that can, they want to support folks that can do those sort of rides. So definitely check that one out.
Alrighty. And then I know we got stuff Thursday. Calais, do you want to kick us off?
Sure, I can. I mean, well, of course, Thursday is the early bird special, and that's a pack. So, I kind of want to let Kat kind of describe that because it's her ride.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a Team Snacks ride for sure. But Kat is definitely the leader on that one.
Do you want me to?
Go
Okay.
for it.
So the Team Snacks Early Bird is a Thursday at 7:30 ride from Cycle East down on Cesar Chavez. And we ride, it's a fairly flat course, 16 miles. We go from Cesar Chavez, from Cycle East over to Walnut Creek Park, go up to the YMCA. and come across and come back down in Cherrywood and through Boggy Creek, right? So what it's called. And it takes about an hour and a half. Usually we're done right around 9. And then we can have coffee and kolaches and tacos at Flat Track Coffee. And it is a blast. It's not a hard ride. We average about 13 miles an hour. It's completely no drop. So if you have a problem, you won't get left behind. And it's just so much fun. And I've been doing it since January when it was 30 degrees, and now it's 1,000 degrees, and it's fun every single time. So definitely check that one out. You just on your calendar for your boss, you just say working elsewhere, and we promise we'll talk about work a little bit on the call, and then you
Chelsea, the snacks vice president, she very often is also in attendance and helps with like sweep on that ride,
Mhm.
and also covers leadership for when Kat has to be out. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. It's a really great ride.
Yeah.
Calais, was there anything else you knew of on Thursday?
And, I don't think so. Oh, just to add, the early bird special is an allies ride, so it's open to anybody.
Okay, a co-ed team snacks ride, which is nice because I know like the early bird ride is a pretty easy ride, but it is a road ride as opposed to a social cycling ride where you're maybe on your commuter bikes. This is more oriented to people that want to like get comfortable with their road bikes. But it is beginner intermediate, and I know that there's a lot of like men that are interested in road riding and looking for their way in as well. And so the early bird special is, if it's an allies ride, then it kind of creates that opportunity. Okay, Kim, there's definitely social cycling on Thursdays.
Yeah, we have our Social Cycling Austin has the Thursday night social ride. And that's a really big ride that has been going on since 2009. It's the rider count is pretty large. It's usually like 200 plus folks every week. So we always meet at the same spot. It's the west end of Festival Beach. So like Festival Beach is this kind of long park that goes all the way eastward. But it's the west end where the park butts up against I-35. So we always meet at that spot. The address is 1201 Nudge Hernandez Senior Road, I think, road or drive. But yeah, if you look up that address, it takes you to that spot. So we meet at 7:30 with wheels down. No, they say 8:15. Sometimes it's a little later than that. We're social, but it's usually about 10 miles with a park stop at about mile 6-ish. And super social again, like 8 to 10 miles an hour. Sometimes it gets going a little faster. There are usually the route is pretty easy. We do have some, that head south, which always means hills in Austin. So it's really good to just check the invite because we always tell you exactly where the end point is, or the midpoint and the end point. So you can kind of gauge, like if you're a really beginner, you can gauge on that. If our midpoint is way south, then we're gonna do some hills. But yeah, so it mids at a park and then usually ends either at like a bar or a park. It's just kind of up to the leader. But the leader's always different, route's always different, but we always meet at the same spot at the beginning.
Awesome.
I don't know if there's a plan this week just yet, but yeah. So if you just follow social cycling, I think like by tomorrow we'll probably be posting what all the plan is.
Is that right considered like adults only since it has already?
There's some adult activities that might happen around, but I certainly see a lot of kids, like not a lot, some kids on it. In fact, over the years, there's a couple of folks that brought their kids, and I literally watched these kids grow up on the Thursday ride, like from age, 8, and now they're like 20. Wow. There's definitely some kids. In fact, there's actually another guy that brings his son out, and he's probably like 11
well.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, one other thing, and I don't have a lot of details on it, but I know that the Captex cruisers also meet on Thursday night. I believe they meet at Ramsey Park. I have no idea what time. I would assume somewhere between 6 and 7 and 8, something like that. They have a pretty strict, very strict, one speed BMX cruiser bikes only rule. So if that's you, you might want to research Captex cruisers. I know they do a lot more miles than your average social ride. I would assume something like 20, guessing from some of these folks like Strava's when I see them from Thursday night. And they probably go fairly fast. But yeah, Captex cruisers, and that happens every Thursday too.
There's also like the Thursday throwdown from Night Owl Racing that leads out of Cycle East, but I would have to look up the information for that. But for people seeking like a hard like maintain your fitness roadie ride, looking into the Thursday throwdown would be a good idea. Alrighty, that brings us to Friday. Back to Calais again.
I don't have anything for this coming Friday. I know next Friday is Critical Mass, but we can talk about that next.
Okay. Kat?
This Friday is a night gravel ride with the Breakfast Club Gravel Gang. Not necessarily a women or trans only ride. It's open to everyone, but I'm one of the leaders, so if you're there, you'll be in good company. Night gravel riding is my favorite thing to do. It is so much fun. If you want to do it and you have a gravel bike, you just need a good light, and you're gonna need to be able to take care of yourself because it's dark. And but it just adds a whole different level to gravel riding that I just recently learned about. So I'm really looking forward to it.
If people wanted to do it, where do they go? What time, all that?
Right now they're still finalizing the plan for this week's. They think it's going to be in Page, but as far as the time and the exact location, it hasn't been set yet. We can follow Breakfast Club in their Slack or hit them up on Instagram and get all the information.
Okay. Kim, Friday?
I got nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, next Friday, Critical Mass from the Lamar Luger and Bridge. It's Friday.
How many riders show up for Critical Mass?
Well, we've only had so this is kind of like what we're calling like the OG resurgence of Critical Mass, which started this was kind of a lot of the same folks that were doing Critical Mass years and years and years ago. But we've only had this first one from the Luger Pedestrian Bridge, but I think we had about 300 people.
Wow.
I mean, at least it was like 250 to 3. It's so hard to tell when that many people are in one place. But when we rolled out from the bridge, I feel like 300. I mean, people kind of petered off like once we started going through downtown and going around and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty big. It was pretty cool.
So is that the same as the OG, where kind of the objective is to disrupt traffic, or have they altered that?
Yes, but we're still, so I mean, our mentality is like, if we get up to a stoplight in downtown and it's already red, we're probably gonna halt the ride and use that as a, like a week to maybe mess up a little. If the ride starts going through a light and the light turns red while the ride's going through, they're probably just gonna keep on going.
I mean, it's been 15 years since Critical Mass kind of died out. So now all the OGs are just for old.
A lot of people came out of the dust on their bike after them. But it was fun. I went and I never, in fact, when I first started riding a bike back in 2009, I was only doing like very, social rides where we followed all the laws. This was kind of one of my first like let's just do it. I never felt like I was unsafe, or and in fact, we didn't really have any car, like I had one argument with one lady that was kind of trying to push through at some point, but other than that, like, it was all happiness. Like, we were all just happy to be on our bikes and ride.
That's awesome.
There were some funny, there was a guy along the way, picked up a couch on his, like, e-bike. You might see some pictures of this here and there of a guy on the couch. It was hilarious.
Wow.
Hilarious. He ended up bringing the couch up to the top of Doug Sam Hill, where they then proceeded to sit on it.
I love that.
Wow.
That could be we could have that on every single ride, and it would be kind of cool.
Who doesn't want to count?
Yes.
Wow. Well, not quite the same level of party, but there is the Austin coffee ride. They're on Instagram. They meet up. I think they leave from Govali Park every Friday morning at 7 a.m. Do we have them in here?
I didn't put them on.
I totally meant to add that, and I completely forgot. So I'll pull it up here.
There's a cafe that's Saturday.
Okay. Well, like if I'm incorrect about any of the details, please correct me. But I'm pretty sure they meet at Govali every Friday morning. They leave at 7 a.m. and then the ride leader just takes them to a different coffee shop every morning, and it's kind of like early bird special. It's a co-ed ride, and they just try to wrap it up by 9 so everyone can get to work. Okay, Saturday. Calais, do you have a Saturday? Kat.
I don't have a Saturday ride.
What?
I know.
Well, I know that there's Saturday rides that we're aware.
There are.
So let's have...
None that I'm leading.
Let's have Kim go, and then we'll just brainstorm what we can.
Yeah, so every Saturday, Social Cycling of Austin has the Saturday morning caffeine cruise. And it's called the caffeine cruise, but it's really just barely morning enough to still call it morning. So they meet at 10:30, they wheel down at 11:30, early in the AM. They always start in a different spot, they always mid at a different spot, they always end at a different spot. It's really just rider or leader's choice. This particular week, I am leading it, and I think if plans don't change, I haven't made the invite yet, but my plan is I'm probably going to start at on 30 seconds, I think. And then there's this hip hop festival at Republic Square Park that we're going to try to hit up at the halfway point. And somewhere in there, because it's so hot, we're going to hit up either a splash pad or pool. I don't know where yet. And then I'm probably going to end at Crown and Anchor. But that ride is typically 10 miles, typically pretty beginner friendly, typically pretty slow, just because it's so hot right now. We're really trying to keep the mileage and the speed down. It's no drop for sure. Usually mostly road. We might hit up hike and bike trail, like fine gravel, but nothing that a road bike probably can handle. So that's this Saturday.
So you already said where you're having people. You're meeting at Food Heads at 11:30.
Yeah. So breakfast and coffee, 10:30 to 11:30. Wheels down at 11:30.
The Saturday morning caffeine cruise is the thing to do if you woke up late and you don't know how to spend your Saturday. Just let those guys just dictate. Yes, that's your Saturday. Amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of typically the thing is we wheels down at 11:30, but people end up hanging out. I mean, I've not gone home until 2 a.m. Just content, not riding. Ride, but we go have some lunch and drinks after the ride, then we go hit up some music, then we go to swim, then we a lot of times just the day wherever the day takes us.
Join the caffeine cruise for a blessed life.
Yes.
Well, and a lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people go to the caffeine cruise after their roadie ride or their mountain bike ride. So in Austin, the competitive cyclists tend to do all their rides in the early morning to try to beat the heat because they're working really hard. So, did anyone look up if Phenom is active? Because that would be one such ride.
That you mean.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that they're doing anything. I think because it's been really hot, that they kind of not been like super active. I also think there's like a ride leader kind of situation.
Okay. So, well, there used to be that. There used to be like the middle of the road ride out of Mellow Johnny's. We're going to have to just look up for next week what all roadie rides or fast mountain bike rides there might be Saturday morning. But I know we know of things happening Sunday. So, without further ado, Calais.
Sure thing. Okay. So you've got so let's see. Let's start with the earliest thing. So the Rafa Women's 100 is coming up. So there's several clubs around town are hosting training rides, and this coming Sunday there is a training ride with Spinistry, and they'll be leaving from Medici Coffee on Springdale, and they're meeting up at 7 a.m., rolling at 7:30. And this is a training ride, so it probably like about intermediate, I would say. You are looking at like an intermediate pace, so I would say that they're probably going to try to average somewhere between like 14 to 16 miles per hour if they cater. Um, and they're going out to New Sweden, and the pardon the dogs. The mileage for that, um, oh shoot, I didn't write down what the mileage was.
I think it was like 60 miles.
60 miles. Yeah. It's about 60. So, and it's definitely a road ride, but it's training. So it's like, it's pretty cool. There's likely going to be some regrouping and things like that to help folks catch up. And, because it's a Rafa ride, they do ask, minimum requirements in terms of like being of preparedness. So obviously they want your bike to be in good shape. They ask for clipless pedals and shoes, 2 water bottles, minimum, and a helmet. And honestly, like flat repair kit is on point. But it's a good supportive group of people. This is open to women and non-binary people. And it's just like training to like get ready for that big ride. And so that'll be fun if you're really looking to like up your road ride game. Besides that, Team Snacks has a couple of things coming up on Sunday. We're doing a slow roll with Harry. This is a road ride, um and it is like, it's kind of social as nobody knows what a slow roll is. It's we pace at about 12 miles per hour. Um there is a social aspect to it in that we have a snack stop where we like hang out. During the ride, there is a focus on like basically just like developing road skills for beginner to intermediate riders. And you can bring your water, make sure you have a helmet, flat kit, things like that. It is a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of different people. It's open to anyone, not just club members, but anyone that identifies as like woman or non-binary. And I don't know where the snack stop is, and it'll probably be about 10 miles. So it's definitely doable if someone is like novice rider trying to like start to like make that way towards intermediate. And you learn a lot along the way. But it's fun. It's a good ride. So slow roll on Sunday. And then if you just can't get enough of Team Snacks, we're also doing the Slaughter Creek Hot Laps, which is mountain bike.
Yay.
That's at 6 p.m. So it's blazing hot. But it's hot laps, not just because it's hot outside, but because the Slaughter Creek Trail is a loop. It's a 5-mile loop. And it's oh, I forgot on the sledding roll. It's gonna be wheels down at 8, sorry, and it'll be at Cycle East. My bad. But that's in the thing too. But the Slaughter Creek we'll meet at 6 at Slaughter Creek Trail. That's off of FM 1826. And the park does have gates that close automatically at dusk. So we try to get in as many loops as we feel like we can do. Often lately, because it's been so hot, it doesn't usually exceed 2 loops, 2 laps around the loop. But it's a lot of fun, and we kind of will like stop in between and like chit chat or just hang out for a little bit while we watch the sun go down, and then maybe have a few snacks and drink. But there's the features in the trail range from what I would say are novice, a lot of novice stuff to intermediate, like upper intermediate mountain bike. But the cool thing is that because it's a loop, you can like hop in, at any point. You're never gonna lose anybody. And there's also a cut through. So if someone was like, I don't feel like I can go the full, because 5 miles on a mountain bike is totally different, right? So you can cut through and kind of cut the trail in half through the shortcut. But it is a good time, and it's also a good way to like learn how to get better at mountain biking, because you have other people that are going to be, like upper intermediate, that you can follow their line and kind of figure it out. I love it. It's just the best.
It's also the ride to be at if you really want snacks as part of Team Snack.
There will be snacks.
There will be snacks.
So just really quickly remind us where people go at what time on Sunday.
Slaughter Creek Trail. It's off FM 1826. So it's like 9901 FM 1826.
And then the time?
6 p.m.
Okay.
And it's kind of a soft, kind of time. Yeah. Just because it is a loop, you can just hop in and you'll eventually run into somebody. But if you want to start out with the group, usually we meet at 6, and then I'll give everybody about 15 minutes to show up, and then we like try to start rolling at 6:15 as a group. If you're wanting to like if you want to follow someone's line.
And then rider wise, is this co-ed, just W&B, allies, like who can come?
So this upcoming one is going to be women, non-binary kind of situation, yeah.
Okay.
But that varies, so, and the location will probably vary too.
And the park is open, so
you could
there's
just
only
show
one
up.
trail.
You can just
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
Coffee.
Right.
But you have to freaking back to
If you want snacks. Yeah.
if you want snacks.
Yeah.
Kat, did you have anything to add to Sunday? Maybe competitive stuff?
I have a ride on Sunday.
Oh, okay, let's hear it.
Sunday is the Austin Gravel Collective Martindale Rip and Dip.
Or grip.
Grip, yeah. It's in Martindale, which is just down by San Marcos, just east of there, and it's going to be about 25 miles of gravel. And the best part about this ride is that it ends at the San Marcos River, so we jump in our kits and just cool off in the river. It's amazing. It's nice and cool, and free parking right there. There's plenty of room, and the route is amazing. So lots of gravel, lightly traveled roads. Yes.
What's the name of the park, and what time do people meet you there?
I don't know the name of the park, but it's Martindale, Texas.
So go to the city.
It's a tiny little town. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Austin Gravel Collective on Instagram. We're gonna have all the details before the end of the week.
But yeah, there aren't that many parks to choose from. Martindale is like one of those one road towns.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You'll see it.
You'll see a bunch of cars. You'll see a bunch of cyclists.
Look for the sketchy bikers.
Yeah, there you go. And that's an everybody ride.
Right.
Or everybody that can hang. Do you know the miles per hour? And
it's usually average 13, 14. It's officially no drop because we lead from the back. So if you're with me, you are on the ride. If you have the route and you want to go fast, you're more than welcome to do your own speed. But we don't leave anyone behind on the route. It's the pace of the slowest rider.
Yeah.
And
this one's kind of like route, but in that it's like bring your flat kit, bring clips.
Yeah.
Like
there's no Uber on gravel roads. So the thing I can recommend is we've had a lot of trouble with folks with tubes. And if you can get tubeless tires, it makes a huge difference. We get so many flats with people with tubes. So that's my only suggestion. And plenty of water because it's going to be hot.
All right. Did you have another?
Nope.
Okay. So Kim.
How many miles is that?
Oh.
It's about 25 miles.
25. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry. I have a friend to step.
Kim, you're up.
Sure. Okay. So, we have, so Social Cycling Austin has Sunday Bike Curious Ride. That, like, usually 10 to 15 mile ride, social ride again. It meets at Browning Hamer in Mueller. And, they usually end close to where they start. So, it ends in Mueller. But yeah, that's the drop. They meet at 6:30, roll at 7 p.m. And let's see, the other ones I know about, the 512 Wheelie, they meet again on Sundays. They usually meet at 11 a.m., but they've been meeting at 7 p.m. because it's been so hot. They again meet at Hemphill Park, and it's pretty much the same deal as the other one, wheelies and fun stuff like that. But let's see. And I actually just read about one. I've been following this Wet Pals like Instagram. So I don't really have a lot of details on it, but I just wrote it down. Austin Ridge Riders meet at Walnut Creek Metropolitan Park at 9:30 a.m. It sounds like they have 3 kind of options. So they have a fast level, which is 12 to 16 miles, an intermediate level, which is 8 to 12 miles, and then a beginner level, which is 6 to 8 miles. And I don't know more details than that.
Yeah. I can't believe thanks for bringing that up. Us mountain bikers totally forgot. And it's like totally classic too. Yeah, the Austin Ridge Riders are probably the main mountain biking organization in Austin, and they maintain that Walnut Creek Metropolitan Trail. They're that 9:30 p.m. or a.m. on Sunday meetup at Walnut Creek. They meet by the parking lot that is adjacent to the swimming pool, and it's about 50 riders most weeks. So each of those groups is plenty big, and you just kind of decide for yourself which group you feel like you can hang with. Yeah.
And I was going to mention, there was a ride I totally left out for Wednesday. So while we're done, if we could swing that.
Okay.
That one. It slipped my mind.
Well, let's get Valerie's Sunday in.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, yeah. Unmute yourself. There we go.
Yeah.
So Sunday Cruise Atx been going on for 6 years. We're on the socials. We don't have our details up for this Sunday, the 6th, but usually meet at Plaza Saltillo, Sculpture Park, or Mueller. More and more, we're starting to meet there. I really like that. I think we're going to meet at Mueller this week, so stay tuned on the socials. But it's a very chill, relaxed pace. We had kids come out, probably about 9 years old and up. Very relaxed, chill pace. Visiting fun, free stuff in Austin. We're having our 6-year anniversary next month. Super stoked.
What time would we meet you over there at Mueller, and what part of Mueller do y'all meet at? Oh, you said the hangar, right?
Yeah, we meet up at try to roll out from our start spots at 12:30, 12:35-ish. Kind of
The
lax about
hangar
that.
was the other one. Do you guys meet at the hangar too?
Oh, sorry.
Are you talking to me, Kim?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we have by the 4. We've also started from some Elizabeth Bridge Park next to the farmers market. We also have started from there as well. There's this cute like hammock stand there in the park. It's such a nice little park area. So yeah, those are kind of the 2 spots that we have started, but we definitely give all the details. Probably by Wednesday or Thursday we'll post.
Okay, gotcha.
Of the Sunday ride. It's always a fun time.
Yeah. Okay, well, Kim, you had that Wednesday one you wanted to circle back to.
Sure. Yeah. And the reason I forgot about it. So Bike and Beds normally meet first and third Monday of the month. So they would have been meeting today, but they're changing it up this week and they're meeting on Wednesday at Shine Park. And they're doing a little bit of a different thing. Usually it's like a 10, they're, like the rest of the social cycling Austin rides, like it's usually about 10 miles at a social pace. But this week, special thing. So they're meeting at Shine Park. People could swim from 6 to 6 one and have just a short 5-mile ride this week, followed by a bike gear / clothing swap at the end. And again, Bike and Betty's is open to trans, non-binary. But yeah, so that's a different thing this week is a ride and a gear swap at the end. That's on Wednesday at, let me make sure I'm right about that, 6 p.m. I believe. They usually meet around 6:30. Yeah, 6 p.m. this week.
Gotcha. That sounds awesome. I'm glad you thought of that.